Hey, what's up everyone? Nick here. Welcome back to my Until Dawn Everybody Dies Douchebag Edition walkthrough. We are moving on to Chapter 9, and we're getting pretty close, because remember I said at the beginning of the walkthrough, this game, it's 10 episodes long, and there's also a prologue, but of course we already did the prologue. So this is episode 9, second to last episode, and if you've been following the series, things have really started to pick up. A lot has been going on. We are now down to 4 characters left alive. And we also had a big twist in, what was it, the last video? Or I think maybe no, sorry, that was the video before, episode 7. So anyway, the 4 characters that are currently dead are Jessica, Emily, Matt, and Chris. So Jessica was the first to die. She got killed by what we now know is the Wendigo because Mike was not fast enough to catch up to her. Chris, he got killed because Ashley snapped and wouldn't let him into the cabin when he was running away, so the Wendigos ripped his head off. Emily is dead because she got bit by a Wendigo. Mike freaked out, thought the bite was infectious, and decided to shoot her himself. And then, who is the other character that I'm forgetting? Jessica, Emily, Matt. Matt died because he, Matt probably had the stupidest death out of everyone in the game. Matt died because a deer forced him off the mountain edge, and he fell and hit his head on a rock, so, yeah, not the coolest way to go in this game, but someone had to do it, so it had to be Matt. But anyway, we are now controlling Mike, and if you recall at the end of episode 8, Mike, he shot Emily, he killed her, even though that was his ex-girlfriend, who they both still cared about each other. And now he is back at the sanatorium, and so you should recognize this location. We've been here before, but now we're able to access a couple places that we weren't able to get into before. So what you're going to do is you're going to pick up this torch here, take out the lighter, ignite it, and then you can get this little sawed-off shotgun right here while you're at it. And this is a really fun part of the game because this is the first part where we actually kind of get to go Wendigo hunting. And so before we get to that, the one thing I wanted to point out, I didn't have time to mention this in the last video, but in episode 8 when we met the stranger, the mysterious man, he was talking about to Chris how the Wendigo kills someone. He said that first it renders you immobile. I don't know how. Maybe it slices your Achilles heel. Maybe it slices the tendons in your knee. I don't know, but it renders you immobile. Then what it does is it strips off all the skin off of your body while you're still alive so that you feel all of it, and then it eats you alive. It takes your guts out and eats them in front of you. And however, even though he said that, we have yet to see a Wendigo actually do that. Back in the last episode, the Wendigo just cut off the head of the stranger and ripped off Chris's head. So I don't know why he said that, because so far we have yet to see any evidence of that. In fact, I don't think we're ever going to get to see that in the entirety of this game. So maybe you find that disappointing. Maybe you find that as a relief, depending on your depending on your mental conditioning when it comes to graphic imagery. However, it's not very important. The important thing is, look who we ran into. Our good old buddy the wolf, way back from, what was it, chapter 4 or chapter 5? And I talked about this in that video, but I said, this is the douchebag edition. I am a douchebag to other characters. I am a douchebag to the humans. I'm also a douchebag to the animals. But if there's one thing that I will not be a douchebag to, that is dogs, or in this case, the closest thing, wolves. So I'm sorry to disappoint. If you were hoping to see me get this wolf killed, which is possible, that's not going to happen. So I don't care if I lose every subscriber I have. I am not going to be a douchebag to a wolf/dog. So that's just the way things are going to go. I think most of you can understand. I just can't do it. Can't bring myself to be mean to a dog or wolf. I'm just a big dog person. Even though it's a video game. Even though it's a video game, none of it's real. Still don't want to do it. So anyway, now we're going to make our way into a new part of the sanatorium. And this is where we really kind of get into the Wendigo hunting. Now, on other playthroughs, if you're going for all of the collectibles, this is a really fun place to explore. There's a lot of small hidden rooms. There's some collectibles which really do a lot to reveal some of the deeper story going on. But again, when you're doing an Everybody Dies playthrough, you don't really want to get the collectibles, because I mentioned this in the past, but some of the collectibles are actually required in order to keep one of the characters alive. And so you don't want to accidentally pick up something that's going to keep a character alive, because then obviously that's going to ruin your objective of making sure everyone dies. So usually what all the trophy guides recommend for this game is to just leave all of the collectibles for your playthrough where you keep everyone alive. Now right here, it's kind of sad. Our wolf friend is looking at his friend and he's saying, "Oh man, I know him, that's Tony. You know, we just hung out last week and now look at him. Poor guy." And it should be pretty obvious that a Wendigo did that. And I think that's one of the things I like most about this game, is that the first time you play it, it really does kind of keep you on your toes. You know, when we started the game, we thought that, you know, we saw this mysterious man in the shadows and we thought that he was the main enemy, only to find out in the last episode that he's actually a good guy. He actually tried to help us. And then we're introduced to this maniac, this psycho, which is who's terrorizing our group of friends. And then we think, oh, that's the enemy. And then right there, we figure out that no, that's actually just Josh pulling a prank on all of his buddies. And so then you're left to say, well, hold on, people are dying. How are they dying if this is all just a prank? And that's when we find out that just completely coincidentally, to tie in with all of the hell going on this night, there is a beast. There are Wendigo on the mountain. And it just completely changes the tide. And so it's a fun game. I've said this numerous times. It has a good story. I think the story's great. And I think it does a really good job at always keeping you guessing and keeping you on your toes, at least the first time you play it. Now, once you come out to this opening, you're going to see this can move, and you can shoot the box if you want to. You don't have to, and I'm not going to shoot it. Save some ammo. Alright, so I left that jump scare in there. Hopefully that got you. But the Wendigo's going to jump at you. You have the sawed-off shotgun. And you're going to do the same exact thing that we did in the last level with Chris. You're just going to shoot the Wendigos. There's going to be a couple quick time events, so you got to watch out for those. Now right here, you're going to want to go left. Don't go straight because, well, you could go straight, but ultimately you're going to have to go through this door here. If you go straight, you end up running into a dead end. Mike will stand still for a couple seconds, and then he'll run for this room here. Now, I do briefly want to talk about this section of the game, and then I am going to reveal something. So what I wanted to reveal is this idea. I've talked about it previously. You might be wondering right now, like, Nick, this is an Everybody Dies walkthrough, so why are you not just, like, why are you doing this? Why don't you just fail the quick time events, let the Wendigo kill you, and be done with it? You know, why show all this unneeded footage? And as you can see, the Wendigo's going to come in here. You're going to be presented with a don't move encounter. You're going to have to press triangle to save a bottle from falling onto the floor. And so again, you might be asking yourself, well, why are you even bothering doing this if you're trying to kill every character? And it ties back to something I talked about in a previous level, where there are certain characters in the game that no matter what you do, nothing can happen to them. They will automatically make it until the end of the game. And as it turns out, Mike is one of those characters. So I remember reading online before I recorded this walkthrough, somebody asked on a thread, they were like, can Mike even die during this section? Like, is it possible for him to die? And someone replied on it, and they said that they failed every QuickTime event, they failed every possible user action, and no matter what they did, Mike never died. And that's because Mike is automatically programmed to make it until the end of the game. And I'll go ahead and give you a little hint. There is one other character that meets that as well. There's one other character that no matter what you do, they will always survive until the end. Now, you could probably guess what character that is based on hints that I've dropped throughout the series, or just by thinking about it for a little bit. So if you don't know what happens, feel free to guess. Leave your comment down below. What character besides Mike do you think is automatically programmed to survive until the end of the game? I'd be curious to know what you guys think. I feel like it's an obvious thought, but then again, I've played the game numerous times, so I'm, you know, it's easy to see things as obvious in hindsight. So I'd be curious, if you guys aren't familiar with the story of this game, I'd be curious to see your guys' guesses or predictions. Oh, there was a little bug in my video capture right there. No, I don't like that. Yeah, wow, okay, I apologize. I didn't know, for some reason when I recorded this, there was just a little hiccup in the game recording. Luckily, nothing was lost, but you may have noticed just a brief little technical glitch there, so I apologize. Every once in a while that happens, and there's not really much you can do about it. And it sucks because you can't tell while you're actually recording that happens. It's not until after you finish the video that you notice. So, apologies for that, but again, luckily it wasn't a big skip or anything. But yeah, you can see this part's pretty easy. Every time a Wendigo's about to attack you, you're given a little slow motion animation allowing you to shoot them. If you happen to fail a quick time event, that's usually when the wolf will come into play. So if you happen to miss a quick time event, the wolf will actually save you. The wolf will jump in front of the Wendigo and allow itself to get killed instead of you. But again, I wanted to make sure to do this section perfectly because it was a goal of mine to keep the wolf alive throughout the entire thing. I think, I could be wrong, but if I remember correctly, I think there's actually a trophy for keeping the wolf alive throughout this entire little encounter with all of these Wendigos. But right here, roll the barrel, shoot the barrel, and bada boom, bada bing, it's as easy as that. And so, now you can just continue your way with Mike. You're going to lock this door. The wolf should have followed you in, assuming the wolf is still alive. And then we can carry on. And so one of the things I want to briefly talk about just for fun is in the last video when we found out that these creatures are called Wendigos, the stranger, he very briefly talked about the Wendigos. He said that on these mountains there's a curse, and if anybody resorts to cannibalism while on this mountain, they will turn into a Wendigo. And so the reason I like the Wendigo is because it's not just a monster. You know, it's not just a monster that would appear in nature. It has a supernatural element to it. I don't know everything about Wendigos, but from all the various times I've seen them in pop culture, it seems like they are tied to Native American tales. It seems like these curses that cause the Wendigos to form, they're often some type of Native American curse. And also with this game does have mentions of Native American tribes that lived on this mountain. You might not have noticed that because, again, I haven't been picking up the collectibles, but if you do take the time to get all the collectibles, you'll very quickly see that there is some Native American lore going on in this game, and so it's no surprise that, again, that ties in with the Wendigo. But yeah, that's kind of the little story about the Wendigo, is you're not necessarily, you know, Wendigos aren't born. It's just that, so the wolf is going to choose to go off on his own. That's okay. The wolf is going to, you know, handle itself. All I cared about was keeping the wolf alive in order to make that decision, and I did it successfully, so I'm happy. But yeah, so the Wendigos aren't actually born. It's all supernatural. If you are in a place where there happens to be a Wendigo curse, if you resort to cannibalism, the curse takes a hold of you, and you will actually turn into one of these horrific monsters. And I think it's a cool story. I think it's a cool monster, the Wendigo. I don't remember how I started talking about that, but I'm glad I did. Alright, so, I remember how, because if you see right here, watch this, you'll see these faces flying out of the fire, and those faces represent the spirits that are trapped within the Wendigo body. And so that's why I thought of the whole supernatural thing, was because you can see that, you know, there's actually like spirits trapped in these monsters, the spirits of the people that, for whatever reason, had to resort to cannibalism. But anyway, that's all for Mike's section. Pretty fun, pretty intense, but again, it's a little annoying when you find out that he can't die, because it does take something away. You know, it takes away that sense of urgency and fear and tenseness that comes with a game like this. But what are you going to do? So anyway, instead you're going to be thrown now into the shoes of Ashley. And if you want, you can take this opportunity to say your goodbyes, because Ashley is about to leave us in a very annoying death. This is a death that I personally just think is kind of stupid, but I'll show it to you nonetheless.
Wait, hey, what about this? I mean, should we try it?
Well, it's not like we got a whole lot of choices here.
Alright, so go ahead and pick up this bar and use it to lift up the sewer grate. And now Sam and Ashley, they're going to go down and investigate.
Okay, this is maybe the last place I would want to be right now.
So who's going first?
Alright, looks like Sam's going first.
It's not so bad. You think this is the tunnel to the sanatorium?
Of course it is. Where else would it go?
Hey, that's some unnecessary sass. I don't know why you're taking out your anger on Sam, because Sam is a sweetheart that has not done anything mean to anybody this entire time. So Ashley, you can take your sass and you can just leave it up here at the top of the sewer grate, because we don't need that. We don't need that attitude down here.
Hey, hey, we should close this, right?
Huh?
I mean, what if something's following us?
Yes, fine, close it. But we gotta keep moving.
Like, that's sound logic and everything, but then again, you're going down into a creepy sewer. What if something starts chasing you down here? Like, what if you have to retreat and go back up this ladder? Now you just screwed yourself, because you're not going to be able to lift that sewer grate. So, I don't know. I don't know if I agree with that one. But, oh well. That's how it works. Now anyway, guys, this is how you're going to get Ashley killed. So you're going to follow Sam, but you're going to see that you kind of get split up and you lose track of her. And you're going to start hearing voices. You're going to start hearing someone call for help, and it sounds like Jessica. And so now you might be thinking, maybe Jessica's not dead after all.
Hello? Who's there? Anybody? Jessica!
So maybe it's Jessica. Maybe Jessica didn't get killed. You know, maybe somehow she survived that fall. Maybe she survived getting her lower jaw ripped off of her face. So we're going to go investigate, because we're going to be a good friend. And if Ashley is somehow alive down here, we got to do something about it. So
Jessica,
go ahead and take the left path here. Follow the voice. I think that's the actual command that you have to give. And now you're going to make your way down this pretty linear tunnel. And you're going to see a hatch in the floor that's kind of bobbing up and down, and it sounds like Jessica is trapped underneath. And in order to do this successfully, you're going to press X and interact with the lock. There you go. Ashley is no more. Once again, the Wendigo did not kill her in the way that the stranger said it would kill her. It did not render her immobile. It did not strip all the skin off the body. Instead, it just ripped off the head, as we've seen it do to everybody so far. So I don't know what that stranger was talking about. But these Wendigos are making him out to be a liar. But anyway, there you go. 3 friends are left. Sam, Mike, and Josh. That's it. And And that's a death. That death right there with Ashley, that's one that I really don't like because I just feel like it's unfair. I feel like there's nothing you could have done. Well, I don't want to say nothing, but my first time playing this game, I fell for that death. I was walking through, I heard the voice, and I thought, oh, I'm going to go investigate because that sounds cool. And then Ashley got killed, and I was kind of upset because I felt like that wasn't a very fair death. I mean, it doesn't really matter either way, especially now, since this is an everybody dies walkthrough. It's perfectly acceptable for her to die like that. But my first time playing, I was a little annoyed. I thought, oh man, I was trying to keep... During my first playthrough of this game, I didn't have a specific objective. Like, I wasn't trying to kill everyone. I wasn't trying to keep everyone alive. I was just kind of playing for fun. But during my first time playing this game, I guess I did have a small objective, and that was just to try to keep as many characters alive as possible. And I think, if I remember correctly, I was only able to keep one character alive, so clearly I failed in quite a few places, which is a little embarrassing, but that's what it is. Anyway, we are now going to be thrown back into the shoes of Sam. We are almost done with episode 9. And that kind of brings me to my last point. So this episode, at the end of it, there is no therapist section. And so now, by now, you guys kind of see what those therapist sections were all about. Those were all taking place in Josh's head. You know, Josh lost his 2 sisters. He clearly became mentally unstable. And he blamed himself. He blamed his friends. He was angry. He was depressed. So many different emotions, just in shock, and he kind of like lost his own mind. And those are what those therapist sections were representing. Was inside of his own head, it was like he was trying to cope with it all. He viewed himself as a psycho, but he felt like there was still part of him that was just a regular, redeemable human being, and I think that's what the therapist was trying to bring out. And that's why we often saw the therapist say things like why are you playing this game? You're killing your friends. You're a monster. Blah blah blah. So it's really cool. I remember the first time I played, I thought that was a very cool twist on it. And and once you know that, you can definitely see some pointers like the next time you play through. But one of the bigger ones was there was this part way back in like episode 4 or 5 where the therapist asks you, the player, they ask you like, do you even think I'm real? And you get to answer yes or no. Now anyway, right here, Mike is being chased by one last surviving Wendigo. Go ahead and help him out, attack the beast, knock its head off, and that will bring about the end of episode 9. So anyway, I want to thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you think in the comments down below.
Alive, for a start.
And I'll see you in the next video.
Life's good.
Yeah. What the hell are you doing here anyway?
I was gonna warn you about the Wendigos.
I think I got it. Let's find a way down to where this fucker lives.